You're watching EAC News. Thanks for joining us. Indonesian Finance Minister Sri Mulyani Indrawati said on Friday that it was vital for G20 finance leaders to reach a consensus during talks in Bali, warning otherwise it would be catastrophic for low-income countries facing soaring food and energy prices.
Finance leaders from a group of 20 major economies are meeting on a resort island as host Indonesia tries to find common ground in a group afraid by the Ukraine war and rising economic pressures from the soaring inflation. Russia's invasion to Ukraine, which the Kremlin calls a special military operation, has overshadowed the previous G20 meetings, including last week's gathering of the foreign ministers. Sri Mulyani said that the world had high hopes that the group would be able to find a solution to the triple threat of the war, rising commodity prices, and their spillover effects of ability of low-income countries to repay debt. We are actually aware of the cost of our failure to work together is more than what we can afford. The humanitarian consequences of the world, and especially for many low-income countries, would be catastrophic, she said. G20 members include Western countries have imposed sanctions on Russia and accused it of war crimes in Ukraine, which it denies, as well as the nations like China, India, South Africa, which have been more muted in their responses. Sri Mulyani called the G20 members to talk less about politics and build bridges between each other to deliver more technical decisions and actions. We need to strengthen the spirit of multilateralism. We need to also build a safety net for our future cooperation, she said. German and French officials have expressed skepticism that common ground can be reached due to tensions over Ukraine. US Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen commended Russia's brutal and just war in Ukraine and said Russia's finance officials taking part in the meeting shared responsibility for the horrific consequences of the war. Ukraine's finance minister expected to speak at one of the sessions virtually, Indonesia said. Russian Finance Minister Anton Selevnov will also address the meeting virtually with his deputy travelling to Bali. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov walked out of one of the sessions of the meeting and his counterparts in Bali last week, following what he called a frenzy of criticism over his country over the war. The meeting ended without a communique or any announcements of the agreements. Yellen said that one of her key objectives was to push G20 creditors, including China, to finalise debt relief for countries in debt distress.